What is next for Arcane? Almost everyone knows the reason for why Arcane felt rushed, why it was kinda cancelled.
Huh?
Well, that's not exactly what happened. The showrunners are not satisfied with the 2-season wrap, and it's pretty evident why. Lots of characters have pretty incomplete arcs. But when you consider the $250 million budget for the show on just 2 seasons, with apparently making only 1/4 of that amount in returns, well, minus League of Legends and other Riot revenue,
No.
it's actually pretty crazy that Riot went ahead with this very high fidelity project in the first place and delivered a little loose around the end, but also satisfying finale for the series, setting up interesting sequels to look out for. On hindsight, you might think it's actually honorable that Riot was willing to burn their League revenue on artistic projects like Arcane, but come on, we all know what they're planning to do. They're definitely wanting to make all their characters into household names, drive more traction to League of Legends, the game itself, sell more skins, in-game goodies, battle passes, merch, and other stuff, make way more dollars than they already have. Vi, Jinx, Echo, Caitlyn, Jace, Victor, Ambessa have all risen in popularity not because they had high pick grades in Worlds or their OP meta picks or something, it's because of Arcane. Pretty sure their end goal is to turn Runeterra into an MCU-like cinematic universe, or maybe even a very successful Star Wars kind of universe, with recurring characters from various live-action/animated spin-offs/movies, and of course video games, which are all part of the same single canon. Essentially a win-win situation if you think about it. We get high quality TV shows, maybe movies, and Riot gets to make billions of dollars. It all seems too good to be true, right? But Riot certainly does seem to have the potential and patience for it if they manage to maintain the same level of care that Arcane received for all their projects, which is actually my first concern with the upcoming projects. The high quality character writing coupled with great world building is what makes Arcane, well, Arcane. Even though a lot of the setup was already there, Riot really did choose to build these characters from the ground up, giving them kind of new origin stories, weaving them better into the conflict that they've set up for this specific series, which we all thought was a spin-off story at the start, but no, they're all part of the same canon now. More on the retcons later. This build from the ground up really helped the Arcane writers to flesh out these characters and help them better connect with the audience and the overarching story. This, combined with the unique quality and insane attention to detail art/animating style that Arcane has, helped skyrocket the show into this insane record-breaking popularity and never before seen ratings. Now, pulling both of these things off in a short development time is very hard. You can kind of see that with Season 2. No, I'm not saying Season 2 was not as good as Season 1, but definitely you could tell that Riot is kind of rushing things up a bit, trying to speed up the story because maybe they want to cover other parts of Runeterra? What, they only got like 166 total playable characters that they gotta make household names out of? That is why this is my first concern. They gotta give the same level of care to the story and the characters of the following regions as they did with Arcane's, which is, Piltover as Zon characters. Seriously don't know how well it's gonna bode with Noxus. Like, LeBlanc and the Black Rose seem pre-established. Ambessa mentions the 3 principles of Noxus, so you can assume that Triforix is already established, which is, Swain, Darius, and possibly LeBlanc. Or maybe not. Maybe we'll see how the Triforix comes into formation, showcasing a younger Swain, the Black Rose's origin, or maybe we'll see some of the Blessed Isles with Mordekaiser being set up, because, he's Black Rose's ultimate villain. Pretty sure they probably have to cook up Darius and Draven's younger lives. Oh. Listen, I'm not gonna act like I'm high up the lore charts. Honestly, I started getting into League's lore after Season 1 of Arcane, but within those 2 years, I just got completely devoured into the world of Runeterra. No, not just playing Necrid videos in the background as I'm drawing Pokemon or something. Apologies for using your name to farm views. Love you, lore guru. I'm talking everything the League universe has to offer. Biographies, short stories, the map, the comics, and the cinematic shorts, of course, and much more other stuff. Some of my initial practice art was just drawing Talia, Kai'Sa, and even Bel'Veth, because Holospawn was like one of the best stories I've ever read at that time, partly thanks to the Call cinematic, because even without knowing shit, that cinematic was emotional. And after knowing each of these characters' journeys throughout Runeterra, and their sacrifice and everything, the cinematic hits just super hard every time I watch it again. Okay, where was I? Arcane, yeah. The thing is, even though the majority of Arcane's characters' origins were left vague on purpose, courtesy of Arcane being in development for 9 years, they really took their liberty in changing a lot of the lore surrounding Piltover and Zon. But nothing too drastic, and every change they made was, pretty well received.
But you can't do this to me.
The problem is, the following regions, though, have lots of pre-established lore, and if Riot is gonna stay true to what they said about writing shows to fit into the current lore, then there's a lot, and I mean a lot of stuff that they just have to take into account while writing the said new season of Arcane, or whatever they're gonna call them. Black Rose is what I assume the Noxus show is gonna be called, cause you know of its inclusion in Arcane. And also, I mentioned before that a younger Swain might be the main focus, which I think is gonna be the case because of the Raven cameo. Him overthrowing the present Duke of Noxus is mostly what I think the sequel is gonna cover. Don't know if he's already got the demon arm or not. The Arcane's placement in the timeline is really iffy. It is believed to take place after the Noxus invasion of Ionia. You know, that is when Irelia, one of the league champs, cuts Swain's arm and the demon imbued with him strikes a deal with him by not letting him die. That's how Swain gets his League of Legends powers. Also lots of stalking ability. Pretty sure the Noxus series is gonna involve the demon lore. They literally turned a demon into an objective in the main game for the upcoming season. It might be a missed opportunity to not touch on the demon aspects of Runeterra. In the canon universe, Singe really played a huge role in the Ionian invasion, but Singe still hasn't joined forces with Noxus yet in the Arcane universe. So look, I'm so confused. Just all a doozy. Add in Darius and Draven and their backstories with this comics, showcasing their childhood trio friend who was killed by her daughter because she left Noxus. Speaking of comics, look, the Darius comics is just one issue which Riot can like retcon on a casual Tuesday. The other two regions have multiple issues of comics which cover a wider part of the region's lore, or should I say stories in this case, often involving multiple characters having brief interactions and pivotal moments in the League universe that further the plot. These comics are very much considered canon by the League community and are pretty beloved, and they lead into other Riot projects like the Mage Seeker game, which does so much more to the lore of Demacia and gives much needed character development to Silas. Nicky Boy made a great video about it, I recommend you checking it out. Retconning all of this would be a real shame, because just like how I and a whole lot of other people got into League's lore because of Season 1 alone, Season 2 is sure to quadruple that amount. Just the sheer growth and popularity that Arcane brings into the League is gonna drive lots of people to seek out more lore info and get the lore references. It's only gonna max our cravings. And if a good chunk of people turn out to be Yasuo mains by the end of all of this and just witness his lore getting decimated by the League writers, they're just gonna be rioting like Victor mains do. Rioting? See what I did there? The best I'm hoping for is the manga adaptation route. Just use the comics and other media as source material. Don't change anything major that happens in them and just do minor tweaks if necessary. And just fill in the gaps to better the pacing. You know, just be faithful adaptations. You can just serve everyone following this route. Another minor concern that I've got is the dulling of quality in favor of including gratuitous cameos from multiple League champs. You know the thing that MCU does where they randomly drop in characters from their huge roster just to get the audience going?
It's from several movies. Oh boy, that's a very fun cameo.
Kinda looks like that's what they're aiming for with Jinx. Yeah, Riot themselves confirmed that they're gonna do full-length movies in the future, so it's a no-brainer to not have cameos when you're serving content to a huge group of fans. The cameos themselves aren't inherently bad. They would actually work wonders if they were done well, but sacrificing narrative just to get a bunch of characters together or sell matching skins is gonna cause irreputable damage to the IP, man. The Ruination is one of those massive lore-driven events that took place in the League of Legends universe. What everyone was hoping for to be a celebration of League's overarching lore just ended up being cash grab that was super negatively received by everyone. Lots of characters involved deeply with the lore of Ruination were not even present, and the other champs who had nothing to do with the occurring events or that weren't even near the location to where the Ruination took place were brought in just so they can be better placeholders for their new skins, or they can sell more skins just because they're popular. The Arcane writers certainly don't seem to go this route and seem pretty strategic on where to bring in new champs and how to minimize their usage and maximize their effectiveness. But if the higher-ups demand for the selling of new skins, they just gotta comply with the orders from high up. So yeah, I really hope that they don't resort to cheap tactics like that and throw in a random Ashe into Ionia or a Kled into Demacia. Wait, that's actually possible. And that's it for the video. All I hope for is that they deliver something close to Season 1 and 2's quality and don't overstep their boundaries in favor of delivering more in lesser time and make a mess of what could be really incredible. Oh, and I also hope the Arcane team gets enough time and aren't overworked to death, because they make incredible work and I hope it pays off for them mentally, physically, and of course, economically.